leading with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're raised. Remove your hat and stand. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've got the regular meeting for the Wednesday, August 27th, 2025 School Board of Education for the Osceola School District is called to order. I'll ask for a roll call. Jan? Here. James? Here. Kaisa? Here. Corey? Here. Myself is here. Public comment. I have nobody that has signed up for public comment, which will take us to item E, which is student voice.
Alright, so tonight we have two Oscar representatives. So Tristan and River are going to talk to you a little bit about what Oscar is. Do you remember what Oscar stands for?
Osceola Student Council and Representatives.
Nice, good job. People never know that. And this year I had the question, like, I don't even know what Oscar is. Can we just change it back to Student Council? Hard stop. If you look at any yearbook from like the last 50 years or something, it's been Oscar. So it's not changing.
Even when Corey went to school here, it was called Oscar.
50 years ago. So I'll give them the floor.
In here or yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, hello. My name is River Johnson. So I'm just gonna pull up some notes I made. I was elected president, and I'm super grateful that you guys are having me here today to talk about Oscar. Thank you guys for this opportunity. First, I'll start with orientation. A few days ago, we welcomed the freshmen to high school. We throughout the summer, we trained a few times during we did simulation activities, just to kind of prep ourselves for the freshman orientation day, where we would just greet the freshmen and then run them through our little groups and kind of bring them through the thought of activities. For example, we would do stuff just kind of
weird, little fun games, it almost seemed like they're just made up games, somebody just thought of oh, maybe this would be cool or something. But
did it make you laugh and smile?
Yeah, they made us laugh and smile.
A lot of them did, but
and, they had good meanings though. They brought us get the freshmen more comfortable with each other and get them comfortable with us. I think one of the most important things was that they were able to see all the members of Oscar. That's something new this year, is that it used to be Link Crew doing the freshman orientation, but this year is Oscar. And so they see all of the faces of our school and got to immediately see that Oscar is kind of the face of the school, and they know who we are, so if they need help with anything, they can always just come to us. And then we just kind of brought them through the simulations, and then at the end we brought them around the school so they are aware of where everything is. Brought them on a tour, and they met some of our staff as well, and I think it was a really great day. I had fun. Tristan, I'm assuming.
I had a lot of fun. I thought it was pretty fun. The freshmen, they're freshmen, so they're naughty, but it was fun.
Fun.
Seniors aren't.
No, we're almost
adults.
adults. We're perfect.
We're almost adults.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
So, I think overall it was a great freshman orientation, and I think all the freshmen on the first day of school seemed really really happy, and they had really just were in my classroom. I had a few people ask me where their class was, but overall I think they all seemed like they were acclimated well, and they knew who we are, and I think it was a great day. So that brings me to my next point, Oscar in the past. So in the past, I think Oscar has been kind of what it needed to be, but it never really exceeded expectations through my experience in high school. I think it has brought great what are they, the blessing baskets and homecoming, the student events. Yes, we did them well, but it was never anything crazy, and I think some students would just not even attend school on the days where we had certain events, and I kind of took that as well, they didn't want to be here enough, and they missed out, and I think they missed out on a great day. But I think at the same time, I think Oscar could have done a better job at bringing the events along. For example, sometimes we were unorganized and unprepared for the day, and I think that is our own faults. And I'm really excited how we have brought a new Mr. Save. He is now taking over, and I'm really excited that he's in charge. He seems like he's really on top of things, and I think it's gonna be a great year. We have a larger group, and I think everyone seems super motivated and determined to just bring what's best to the school. And in the past, some people have just been on Oscar to put it on their resume, or just to kind of say that, yeah, I'm on Oscar, and it's an awesome title to have, but that's not the reason you should be on student council. I think these new people that we have, for example, Tristan, I think it's just awesome that they're here, and I can see that they're all super determined and super just excited to make our school a better place. I also think that I know that now this year we are introducing new positions for officers. So we have 5 officers. In years past, it was kind of just like the president, the vice president, and then there'd be like a treasurer and like a note taker for meetings. And it was kind of the 2 other positions didn't really do so much. It was just the president and vice president that really ran the meetings and everything. But now we have the president, vice president, and then we'll have different like event managers for each event. And I think, go ahead.
I think we might stick with like the titles, so like we'll have the vice president, or we'll have the president, the vice president, secretary and all that stuff, but then like River said, like the event managers, so like one person, like they'll be like the head honcho of like blessing baskets, one person will be the head of homecoming, stuff like that. So that's like one of the big differences that we're gonna see, and I feel like a lot of stuff is gonna get done better and get done like more in a
Just fluid.
timely manner.
Yeah.
Just kind of being like, yep, we're just gonna throw things out there that like you guys figure it out on yourself. So
Yeah. Like in the past, we wouldn't have like scripts written until like the day before, the day of, and that was never a good thing. And we wouldn't it was just rushed. And I think now with the event managers and like a bigger group of people, I think it's all gonna just go a lot smoother, a lot more fluid. So yeah, I think this year is gonna be super awesome, and I am really excited to see what Oscar can do. I'm really excited just to see how the year goes. And but yes, thank you for having me. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yeah.
How many from each class are there?
I honestly, I
don't
think there's gonna be
know.
3 freshmen, and there's like 6 sophomores or 7 sophomores.
Yeah, we kind of built it up, so we restructured the whole group. It used to be pretty even.
Yeah.
We wanted to restructure so we were a little bit heavier with our seniors, and then more people can add each year. So we didn't even select any incoming freshmen to start the year, which was intentional, so we could get to know them a little bit, see how they naturally fit at the high school, and who stood out as leaders right away. And then these guys will be joining forces with 3 or 4 freshmen, so
Yeah.
totally different structure this year.
There's a lot of different seniors in it. There's probably like at least 10, or
new seniors.
like seniors in Oscar right now. I think there's about 10, maybe a
Yeah,
little
there's
bit more.
quite a few, yeah.
There's a lot of seniors, a lot of juniors as well. It's really just senior and junior heavy, but I think that's pretty ideal since we're all used to high school.
We've been here for a little bit. We kind of know how things work. We've
Yeah.
seen how things work, so we kind of have a excuse me, a pretty decent idea of how like just how things run and how to make things in a smooth way. So
How often do you anticipate on meeting? Like, I know that will change as there's things, but
Yeah, I
do you have
think
anything in mind?
it'll change as like homecoming is a huge event, so we'll have to have more meetings around homecoming. 'Cause that's probably the biggest thing of the year. But I think after that, it's about every other week or every week we'll have a meeting. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's great.
Any other questions? Thank you guys for being brave and being here and talking to us.
Yeah, thank you.
It's super awesome, and I love the changes, so nice work.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Yeah.
all so much.
thank you.
Nice job, Tristan.
Alright. That brings us to item 2, the consent agenda. Board, you have that before you. What would be your wishes? Motion by Cory. Second by Kaisa. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed would be nay. That is approved. Item 3, communication and engagement, the branding guide review and approval.
Okay, so we're just gonna kind of go through it just a little by little, so make sure that you have a thorough view as you go through. So table of contents, again, the purpose of this development is to just have that one universal, consistent look. And it's also about making sure that we're clear on what's happening here. So, right, it starts with purpose, talks about the goals, and the idea that there's 2 logos with one purpose. There seems to be every year a rumor that the chieftain is going away. That's never been a conversation that's ever been at this table during my time as superintendent, so just being really clear. And so we did create a unified O there, because we had 8 different versions. We had one through cursive. Actually, if you just look around, you'll see the variety of O's. And then we also had them developed by graphic designers, so that they're out on our webpage. People can download them and have them, like, the O can be solid white, solid green, solid black, or the 2 colored, so that people have access and that it's clear and it doesn't become the, how do I get that file, or have to have somebody else recreate it. And just simple things like the school district of Osceola or Osceola School District. You're right either way. The DPI calls us the school district of Osceola because that, but SDOO doesn't really roll off the tongue like OSD does. Right, you know, and the idea of who we are and who we've been. And then the chieftain logo was not changed in any way, shape, or form. It was exactly as it was and it has been in my whole entire time here. But also important to see how it's evolved over the years. So those are yearbook covers from the years. And you can see the different chieftains that have existed over time. And that's not all of them, that's just some of them. And then the O logo, like I said, there's versions of across, as you can see. I do think it's important to note, with the chieftain logo, we're trying to, the same thing with the word mark, you see where it says at the bottom, these word marks should be used in their original format, but also not in an offensive or disrespectful way. So some time ago, and I would say 15 years ago or so, it was decided we aren't putting the chieftain head on the floor in Osceola, because we don't want people to walk on it. So if you'll notice, and also, if something were to happen and the state changes the direction, you don't wanna be redoing all of the things. So if you go in the high school, you will see the chieftain head prominently on the gym doors, but it's not in the floor. It's not on the floor on the field, it has the O. And that was with intention way before me. And again, a lot of this exists in lore. Like, I couldn't find anything written down about it, but that's what I have been directed to. And then we have the word mark, again, the Osceola with the curve, it's a secondary word mark. And yeah, well, I've learned lots about that. And then we go through what's the logo misuse. Please don't stretch it, don't change the color, right? Because if you're working on the uniformity across Pride in the district, you wanna have it consistent. Don't put it together, right? And then being very clear on what our brand colors are, so that people can find them, they know them. Those are the different places that, graphic designers pull colors. There's an HEX, there's our RGB, KMYK, it learned all these things, right? And then, even picking out the font right, there were some fonts that we liked better than this, but they weren't available in Google. Then you have to buy a font that people don't have easy access, so we went with a font that we have easy access to. And then, athletics, again, if you look through our uniforms over time, you will see that there is the rounded Osceola word mark. You'll see vest there in the middle top row with the O, that's very similar to what we have. But like, it was great when I sat down with Jeff Hahn and we talked about it, when you look at like this, like these uniforms won't be able to exist anymore, right? Because we have the block letters, it wouldn't go like that. And then we talked about the athletic pieces, people still are allowed to do that. They get to create their own athletic gear. It's not, you have to do this. Like this, just so you know, even though I made it black and white, these are the current soccer uniforms. Even though it looks like they're from back in time.
Yeah,
And you can see the cheerleaders here. And then I don't know if you can see that back there, but this is from, 1916 basketball uniforms. Maybe that's what that says. So again, just trying to show, like, we try to encompass the O that's existed over the time, but like the script letters, we won't have basketball uniforms that have script on anymore. They'll be using that college block font. And again, it's not everything's gonna change today, because one thing like our baseball uniforms, if you've seen, they've tried to brand themselves with a totally different O. It was more like Detroit to me, because they're around the Tigers. But as we phase this in, that will phase out. So is everybody happy with the change? No. Are we overall happy as far as a brand for the district across? Yes. And so if you scroll down, even with activities, so the idea, this is one of the questions, right? If you have a universal, that's very collegiate-like, where they say whatever university of, and then they say their sport underneath it. And we did kind of a possible pros and cons, right? It can save people money if you have the same athletic sweatshirt every single year from freshman year, and you're the same size as you were when you were a freshman, you could wear the same, or you could pass it down to siblings. But you can see also that makes less excitement, and also our vendors, or if it's a fundraiser. So trying to just be very, very clear. So the custom apparel, if people wanna still do something different, that's fine, but still use the O or the chieftain emblem as you wish. So just trying to, and then people want information. So the thought is that this would go, we already have a branding page on our website. This would just go on there for easy access for our people internal and external. But just trying to really, like, another thing we should have here that we haven't gotten to yet is a uniform, like letterhead. Like, what's the district letterhead versus the building letterhead, so that when you see it, it's recognizable. That sounds like something super easy to create. It hasn't been that way so far. So we have, I think, 3 different versions right now that are getting close.
For clarity, Becky,
Mhm.
the chieftain logo,
Mhm.
that is one we currently have the permission, like, to use.
I can't verify that.
We can't verify it.
I do not have letters on file that says you can use this drawing. I have letters to the tribe that were asking for permission, but I do not have a return letter. And you'll see me put up some, stuff on the roads out here, and that has both logos on it, with intention.
That looks nice.
Yeah, standard enough, where you can use the logo or the O with ours and still tailor it for the sport, or change it a little, so you're using it.
Yeah.
Standard in 2 items or one of them, then you can tailor it a little bit to your sport.
Right, in
How-
wanting, yeah, wanting
It's
to give people
flexible, but
yeah.
not,
Right, want to give people freedom, and also give those people like me who aren't super creative to say like, oh, I can do the Osceola with the sports name, here's the font, thank you for creating that. Or you can do it in black one year and gray the next year, if you wanted to.
I know that this has been a lot of work, and you've been working on it for a really long time with your team, so I think, thank you for the work.
And we've had voices of students, we've had voices of staff, we've had voices of community. There's been a lot of people who've been part of the journey together, and most of the work was done internal. There was very little work that we had to go outside. It was designing them without the background so that they are whatever kind of files can go that are available. And we also have opted not to copyright or charge for the use of our logos, because we want people not to want to use them.
Well, questions for Becky, this is a item for review and approval.
Is there anything you think we missed that we should be putting in? Do you like more clarity for?
When do you think you started working on this project? Remember? When you went through the branding?
Yeah, well, I went through some communication stuff. I would say this has been a work in progress since August 2023, the first time that I sat in the chair as superintendent. Because I just really felt like there was a need to have some clarity about who we are as an organization. But real work was last year.
Yeah. It's been a long time, so that's why I say thank you. Well, knowing that information, I'd like to make a motion to approve the branding guide as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jan. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed would be nay. That is approved. Item 4, finance and operations, facility update, tennis court.
Right. Just wanted to give an update of where we're at. So we're in the process of, we've selected an engineering firm. So we had RFPs and they were interviewed, and Rattler Corporation has been selected to support the next phase. The rationale for that selection is, they had the lowest bid, which was obviously super important, but they also had relevant experience with, the grant, the, USTA, which is the tennis grant. And they also have had a lot of experience building tennis courts, and I put some links in there. And They had both cost efficiency and technical expertise. Not only have they built them, but also two of the people that we interviewed, were collegiate tennis players, so they understand the importance of great courts. And as far as the scope of the work, they're gonna be conducting some soil testing on the proposed site, develop multiple design options so that we have lots of options to see that y'all will consider. They're gonna incorporate all of the USTA grant requirements into the design, because that grant is very specific in what you have to have for the planning, and then provide cost estimates for each design, so that y'all can take a look at them and say, okay, are we gonna do something? I'm just gonna see it. Oh, that was very much taking me back to Cry Kick.
I was waiting, I was trying to wait.
Nice work. And then after we finish this part, then the design options will come back, and we will have conversation and decisions to make about how and if and what will proceed. I just wanted to give you an update of where we're at in the process.
Thank you for noting that right now, we're not committed.
At all, no. We've committed some funds to do the discovery that's needed to be able to talk with the real plans in place.
Mhm.
And right now, we are using the 5 courts that we can, and then we actually have the other courts locked, but we have made a concession. The tennis coach asked, can I just use the 1 court, put a net up just for serve practice? So he and I talked about it. He's committed to making sure it's locked, so the community isn't gonna be on there falling on the cracks, and that's what we proceeded with.
Can I ask a question, may not have, when we reviewed both parties, was it determined which site, like they were doing that site or that one? Remember one was like, it looked like it was bid for out by the soccer field, and the other one was down here.
This
There was
was,
there was a question.
there was a question, yes, and they, Shannon and Hunter had clarification questions asked, and they're looking for this.
Okay, both of them were up there.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You just drink in total unison. Grab. Drink.
Right.
Questions on this?
No, I don't have any questions.
Any questions?
That's what I was just gonna say. Tristan, thoughts on this?
I'm excited because, remember the last board meeting I'd asked like where we were at for the tennis court, so I'm glad that we're talking about it again, because I think I said last time, I've had people actually super concerned about the tennis courts and what's going on with the tennis courts. Now I can relay, not that we're for sure getting anything new, but that we're in the process of trying to figure out what we can do for what we can do to improve their situation right now, doing the discovery for the new tennis courts up by where the old soccer field was. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see what all this stuff comes back. It's just nice to be on this journey and just to be able to relay the message to the students.
Awesome. Thanks, Becky. Next meeting information. The annual meeting and budget hearing is for the School Board of Education is Wednesday, September 15th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the high school LGI room. The next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 24th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. in the district office conference room. With that, I would entertain a motion and a roll call vote to convene into closed session pursuant to section 1985(1)(f) of the Wisconsin statutes considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons except where Par B applies, which if discussed in public would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations for the purposes of reviewing a parent complaint pursuant to board policy.
Move to go to executive session.
Kaisa,
Second.
James, roll call. Jan?
Yes.
James?
Here.
Kaisa?
Yes.
Corey?
Yep.
And myself is yes. We'll take 5 and we'll be in executive session. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.